Spooky season is here, and off to a very mediocre start. With it being spooky season, I figured we could take a look at something from the modern horror scene. The Stranger Chapter 2 is the sequel to the 2024 reimagining, whatever, of the 2007 cult classic. The Stranger Chapter 2 is the second film in a new trilogy centered around the now iconic masked killers. The first film in this new series was a mediocre installment met with, let's say, mixed reception by fans and critics alike. Personally, I went into this one with very lowered expectations, given what I remember from 2024 and what I expect from the constant remakes that are being made in Hollywood nowadays. So, did Chapter 2 meet my very low expectations, or find a way somehow to still disappoint me? The Strangers Chapter 2 follows Maya, the surviving partner from the first film's couple, spoiler, as she attempts to recover from the events of the first movie. When her survival is unintentionally revealed to the strangers, Maya is forced yet again to confront the three mass serial killers in a prolonged fight to continue to stay alive. The Strangers Chapter 2 is a very basic film. If you're looking for anything outside of some very routine horror tropes and writing, you will leave this one feeling very disappointed. And even as someone who went into this movie with some seriously low expectations, I was kind of shocked at how cookie cutter the final product ended up being. This is a paint-by-numbers horror sequel that only exists to get this new trilogy to its grand finale. There is not a single news anyone who is not only familiar with this franchise, but the horror genre in general can probably correctly guess whatever is coming next. Not to mention, this film has one of my least favorite things in it, and that is a horror movie protagonist that has the survival instincts of a goldfish. Seriously, this girl has several opportunities to not only incapacitate, but flat out eliminate her pursuers multiple times throughout the film, and for whatever reason chooses not to. Also, the creative choice to give the strangers an actual detailed backstory feels like a genuine misunderstanding of what made them terrifying in the original film. The strangers were scary because they were just that, complete strangers whose motivations and justifications behind their monstrous acts were as secretive as their identities. The lack of information we get about them and the seeming randomness of their victims is what makes the film's most iconic line so very haunting.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Madeleine Petsch is both the most well-known and most prominently featured actress in this film, in both films. Hell, she might be the only prominently featured actor in this film, as most of the other side characters don't even have an IMDb page about them. Although, Richard Brake does appear for a moment to trick you into thinking that this movie might actually be interesting. Petsch does a pretty good job in this film. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing special about her performance, but she's honestly just doing everything she can with what she's being given, and that's not very much. Petsch is tasked with carrying the entire movie on her back acting-wise, because outside of the titular strangers who themselves don't do anything but lumber around searching for Maya and murdering random townsfolk, Petsch is pretty much the only actor featured on screen for the majority of the movie, which puts a lot of pressure on the Riverdale star. She is essentially the vehicle through which we experience an entire movie, and she does a good job capturing the fear, pain, and agony Maya goes through trying to stay alive. I just wish she had a more interesting script to work with. The rest of this movie's cast does so little that they're basically just extras who might have a couple lines here and there, and therefore it feels a little mean and unfair to judge any of their performances, considering they are given so very little to do besides perish at the hands of the strangers. The cinematography in this film might be the best thing it has going for it, and honestly, simply put, The Strangers Chapter 2 is a bad movie, and even more unforgivable than that, it's a boring movie. If you have ever seen a horror movie before in your entire life, there's literally nothing that you haven't already seen before in this film, which makes it a true slog for someone like me who has seen far too many of them to count in his life. With that in mind, I obviously can't suggest you spend a single dollar of your hard-earned income to go see this in the theaters, and honestly, I can't even recommend you go out of your way to find it on streaming services. If you truly have a craving for some stranger-centric mayhem, I would suggest you simply seek out the 2007 original film, which is still, by a pretty wide margin, the only good film in the entire franchise. As for The Strangers Chapter 2, it gets a very disappointing, but kind of expected, 1 out of 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review and would like to see more like it, please give this video a like and subscribe to the Planet Comedy YouTube channel. Have a wonderful day, night, and rest of your week. Be kind to each other, believe in yourself, and I will see you soon.